Hey everyone, Chris here, and welcome to Awaken Yoga. Yoga with purpose. Yoga your way. This is a beginner's guide to yoga. I'm not really a big fan of calling things beginners. It's more of a starting point on your journey, but we've got to call it that in order to connect to you through the algorithm. So with this, I'm going to take you through some foundational poses, some strengthening, stretching, and show you where you could begin your journey across my channel or others. If you can start on your mat with your feet pointing to the front, toes pointing in alignment, lift your toes, ground them down into the mat, and then feel strength through all corners of your feet. Bringing that strength all the way up, we just want to hug our hips a little tighter together, tailbone pointing down to the ground, length coming up through our spine, and shoulders rolling down and back and open. And this is mountain pose. This is where we begin, and we want this length through our spine through almost every pose that we do in yoga. On the next inhale, bring your hands up to the sky, fingertips touch, and bring them down past heart center. Now as we do yoga, we want to breathe in and out through our nose. We'll bring our hands back up again, because that builds a yogic breath and helps to bring energy and heat through our body. And when we bring our hands down, don't just let your hands fall, bring them down by pushing your palms together and bringing it down with intention, kind of like you're drawing something down from the sky, down and through your body. One more time. This time, inhale as the hands come up, fingertips touch, and exhale as they come down and back, opening up for your Tadasana. Now, we're going to bring our hands down to the ground and we'll come into a tabletop position. Shoulders stacking over our wrists here. And we want to put pressure down into our wrists. In yoga, our wrists take a lot of load. And we want to make sure that we're building a bit of strength through here. Nice pressure through our fingertips. And I kind of invite you to feel the best position around your wrists here. Your hips are going to be stacked over your knees. And this is our tabletop. And from here, we'll start with a cow on the breath in. Bringing our chest all the way up and forward. And then exhaling all the way back for a cat. Inhale coming forward again. And really articulate the spine as you broaden out through the shoulders. And exhale, coming all the way up, tucking in, chin to chest. Inhale, coming through, and bringing our collarbones up and open to the sky. Chest broadening nice and flat and open. And exhale, rounding back and through. Keeping alignment through our shoulders and through our hips as we press back. And now, for just a couple of breaths, you cycle around yourself. Feel what it's like to move over those wrists. We are not static creatures that move in one position. We're organic. Our body is designed to move in unique and fun ways. So maybe moving forward and back. Maybe pulling out over these wrists a little bit more. Maybe moving our hips back and forward. Coming in and then articulating all the way back. And as you start to awaken your body, maybe turn your hands out to the side and see how that feels. This might be quite new to you with wrist positions, and it might be something that feels quite strong in some positions. So just take it easy. The idea of yoga is to feel into your body and feel what your body's doing today. And then we just work with it. Each pose will lengthen and strengthen different areas of your body. Okay. Then coming back to our tabletop position, shoulders stacking over our wrists, hips over our knees. We're going to tuck our toes. We're going to come up to our first downward dog. And now in our downward dog, we want to keep a nice generous bend in our knees here. Now the generous bend will preserve our back, and we're trying to keep that Tadasana back that we started with at the start of this pose. Now with this, we're looking to have our shoulders pulling back behind our ears, rolling them open and down, tailbones pointing and lengthening up to the sky, spine is straightening, and we can just start to pedal our feet out, lengthening into the ground. How does that feel in your body? Is there a little bit of a sway that feels nice? Are you lengthening them down? Your heels do not have to touch the ground. There's not something that is any need in yoga. It's just about feeling into the nice stretch. And if you've got really tight hamstrings, a bend in the knees will be perfect here. And then just feel into this place. A few breaths here. Now, down dog will become a standard position through yoga, which is like a restful place. We have our child's pose, we have other areas, but down dog and holding down dog will build strength up through your back and spine, lengthen through your legs, and strength through your legs as well. Now let's bring our knees down and sit back to our heels to hero's pose. When we come to hero's pose, this is another rest, kind of in between our child's, but a place for us just to take a moment to chill. Now bring our hands back to tabletop. We're going to tuck our toes and come back to downward dog. And from our down dog, can we rise up on our toes and try to point our tailbone a little bit higher to the sky, lengthening it up as we push through our shoulders. And then as we bring our heels a little bit further down, that's the position we want our hips in. And coming back up to our toes, let's walk and step all the way up to our hands to the top of the mat. And as we rise, we're going to halfway lift by pressing our hands just below our shins, and we want to preserve this nice Tadasana back that we started with at the beginning of this flow. And exhale, hands are going to come down into a forward fold. A really nice bend through our knees here to start this forward fold. And hands coming down, we're just going to rotate around a little bit. And the reason we keep our knees bent in forward folds and down dogs is it allows us to just preserve and stop any pain and pressure through the lower back. As you become stronger at yoga and more flexible, you may start to lengthen out. But again, this is not necessary in any of these starting journey poses. It's about you finding the length. And I've got to be careful too. If I put my head too close into my knees, you can't hear me on the microphone. So I'm going to stick out here because it starts well and it sounds a whole lot better. And then we're just going to bend our knees quite a lot and roll through our spine to articulate all the way up, vertebra by vertebra, and hands coming up above our heads again, and hands down through our heart center, opening back up into Tadasana. And now we're just going to flow through this. Hands come up, and then flowing back down past our heart center and folding, bending, hinging at the hips, bending those knees all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift, hands coming below the knees. And exhale, hands to the ground and stepping back into our supported plank. Knees kind of down here, shoulders stacking over wrists. If you're okay with this position, take your feet back and then rise yourself up into a plank pose. But again, supported plank is perfectly fine with knees down. Otherwise, come on the journey here with me today. When our shoulders stacking over our wrists, strength feeling all the way from our heels, which are pressing to the back of the room, lengthening all the way through the body, feeling our core stabilizing and switching on. Chest is strong here. And then we slowly come down to the ground. Elbows tuck into the body. We come all the way through Chaturanga, which is the elbows bent position, down to the ground. And now we're going to rise into Cobra. Hands placed just next to chest. And we're going to gently lift. There's not too much pressure in the hands as we gently lift up. All the strength here is coming through the back. We're strengthening our back muscles. We're pressing in through our thighs and our feet into the ground as we rise into Cobra. And exhale down. Inhale, coming back up to Cobra. And see if you can lift your hands ever so slightly, just to make sure there isn't too much pressure pushing you up into this position. And exhale down. Inhale, coming back up one last time. And really feel the length moving through your body here. And exhale down. And then tucking the toes, coming through a bent plank position, or straight to plank, hinging at the hips, and back to down dog. And pedal that out again. Wow, I'm getting so much sand on this mat. That's fine, it's part of this journey. And then we'll do that one more time. So coming up to toes, and you can step to the top of the mat or hop to the top of the mat. I'll step for this first one. Inhale, halfway lift, hands below the shins as we lengthen that back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, articulating the spine as we roll all the way back up, fingertips above, and exhale, coming down to heart center and opening back up. Let's flow, hands up to the sky. Maybe look up as you come back down, hands past heart center, folding at the hips, keeping that bend as we come all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift again, hands below knees. Exhale, hands to the ground, and stepping back to our plank pose. And then holding for one moment here, feeling the length through our spine, strengthen our shoulders over our wrists, heels pointing to the back of the room, and then elbows in as we come down through chaturanga to the ground. Inhale for one cobra here, legs pressing into the ground, strength through the upper back and coming down. If you feel like coming with me to upward dog, this time as we come up, the arms straighten, our collarbones open to the front of the room, thighs are lifting off the ground to preserve our lower back. We're pressing through our feet, strengthen our legs, and this is a strong open position. Exhale, rolling over the toes and coming back to our downward facing dog. On this inhale, come to the pad of your left foot and float your right foot up to the sky. Drawing that knee all the way in, tiger curl it through, let it try and meet your nose, and exhale, taking it back up to the sky. One more like that, inhale all the way through, tiger curl in, articulating the spine like we did in our cow, and exhale all the way up. Inhale, bring that foot all the way up and through, close to your hand here, up to your right hand, and we're going to pivot our left foot out to a 45-degree angle. And as we rise up, we're coming up and into warrior one. Our hips are moving towards the front of the room. They can't be exactly to the front of the room because we've got a back foot open there, but we're trying to keep our knee stacked over our ankle here. Knee is not rolling in. It's following our middle toe to the front. Heels pressed out. Hips are trying to move towards the front of the room. Chest is to the front of the room. And hands are up into this position. Our spine is lengthening through here. And we're feeling that through our hips. Hands come down to frame your foot. Stepping back, plank pose. And coming back up to our dog. Here, coming to the ball of our right foot. Floating our left foot up to the sky. Tiger curl that in one time. Touching your nose. And taking it back up to the sky. Bringing that through again. And back up to the sky. Strength through our shoulders, rolling them back and down. Strengthen our leg. And bring that foot all the way through. Same articulation of the spine as it comes up to our left hand. Right foot goes to the 45-degree angle this time. And rising up to our warrior one. Hips moving towards the front of the room. Spine in length. Knee tracking over the ankle. And we're here in our nice warrior one. Feeling this, and just breathe. And remember, through yoga, it's in through the nose, out through the nose. And yoga without breath is just calisthenics. So let's keep our yoga flow going. Hands coming back down to the ground. Stepping back to our plank pose. And this time, elbows come in, coming all the way down to the ground. Pressing up to your cobra, or if you want the full extension, into upward dog. Thighs off the ground, feeling that strength and openness through our collarbones, rolling back over the toes to our downward dog. And now we'll build on this pose. Right foot floating to the sky. Right foot tiger curling all the way up and through, coming to our fingers. Left foot to the 45 degrees, hips moving to the front of the room as we come up and open to warrior one. And now we let our hands float down. Foot comes to parallel to the back of the mat. And we come into a warrior two. And holding here. Right knee is tracking over the ankle. Moving to the front of the room. Hips are more open. Chest is pointing to the side of the mat. Hands are lengthening. We're looking over the right hand here. Look back over your left just to make sure it's in the right alignment. We hold into our warrior two. The strength. We're pressing down through both feet. We're feeling the strength of the ground. We are a warrior here. Hands cartwheel over our heads, framing our right foot. Right foot steps back to meet left into our plank pose. And just raising back up into our downward facing dog. Left foot floats up to the sky. Left foot tiger curls all the way through. Steps up to our left hand. Right foot goes to the 45 degrees as we raise up and into our warrior one. Hips moving to the front of the room. Chest pointing to the front of the room. Spine lengthening. Knee tracking over the ankle. And exhale, open. Foot turns to parallel, knee tracking over, arms lengthening, and we're in our warrior 2. The spine still lengthening and strengthening, and we're here drawing in this beautiful serene energy through our body. Make sure that you're really anchoring yourselves through your feet, and you're feeling through the right foot, the back of the right foot is pressing into the ground. Hands coming back overhead, framing our left foot, stepping back to meet the right foot. Again, elbows bending as we come all the way down to the ground. And as we rest here for a second, I invite you to feel whether you want to come up to cobra or for the full extension, pressing up into upward facing dog. Collarbones opening, bright and strong through your chest. And exhale, rolling over the toes and come back to your downward facing dog. And then coming up to our toes, we're going to bring our knees back down and sitting back to our heels for hero's pose. And being strong just here. As we move through these fun foundational poses on this beautiful sunny spring morning here in Sydney. Hands coming back down to the ground. Toes tuck, coming back up to downward facing dog. Right foot floats up to the sky. Right toes come all the way up to meet your right thumb. This time we're going to turn the foot open and out as we come up. And we rotate our arms through into warrior 2. Knee tracking over ankle, foot placement here. And now I want you to turn. We're going to pivot on the left foot to the ball of the foot as we rotate our arms and we come through into crescent lunge. With a really nice bend through our back knee, which will preserve our lower back. It's going to make us not try to bend too much to keep that in alignment, the Tadasana alignment. Chest nice and bright to the front as we hold here. If you have the length, you can start to open it. But again, this isn't necessary. This is a starting point on your journey. So keeping that bend will give you more strength through here. Hands come back down to frame the right foot. Stepping back to our plank pose. Coming up to our dog. Coming to the ball of the right foot. The left foot floats up to the sky. Left foot tiger curls all the way up and through, meeting the left thumb. Right foot turns to open, and we windmill those hands open to our warrior 2. And strengthening through our legs. Left knee tracking over left ankle. Right foot feeling the strength and the stability through the outer edge and inner edge of it at the same time. Hands making sure they're floating here. And we're in our nice, long and lengthened warrior 2. Again, now we're going to look at pivoting across on our right foot to the ball of the right foot as we move our hands forward and we come to our crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana. And to keep the length all the way through our back, we're going to bend that right knee, generously bending here, feeling that out. If you want to play with the length and you've got the hamstring flexibility, you can lengthen that one back out, as long as you're preserving your back in this position. Hands then come back down to frame your left foot. Left foot steps back to meet right into the plank pose. And then gracefully lower all the way down through chaturanga to the ground. Again, I'm inviting you to pick your journey here. Cobra is perfectly fine. Or upward dog if you're feeling adventurous. And exhale, rolling over the toes. And coming back and through and into our downward facing dog. Keeping that bend in the dog to preserve our back here, which lets us lengthen out all the way through. Tailbones pointing to the sky and to the back of the room. Shoulders rolling back and down. Length and strength all the way through. And then coming to the balls of the feet and bringing your knees down. And we're going to come into embryo pose. Embryo is a child version of child's with your knees together. So that's here, just rolling over the knees and forehead coming to the ground. Hands coming out back behind you. If that's too much pressure on you at any point, bring your knees a little wider and come into a more of a traditional child's pose, where we come down with our hands out in front. And resting in this nice and serene position on this glorious day. Coming back up, We're just going to do one little twist to round out ourselves today. So coming onto your back, I'm going to lie back all the way down, fixing this headset as we do that. Bring your right knee up and into your chest, feeling it, the strength of that to pull it in, getting it all back on the ground, and then keeping your right shoulder into the ground, just moving it over and across your body, and bringing that right knee down to wherever feels comfortable. Now, if you can only get to here, perfectly fine. Tuck your right toes behind your left knee, and then just move it to wherever feels good. Here. If it doesn't go that far, no problem. This is about opening up your lower back. And if you're feeling quite a lot of strain, move your left foot out to the edge of the mat a little bit further, and then roll. And that will preserve the lower back and the strength through, and just open more up into this twist along here. And whatever feels good for you. It's been a nice warm up in the sun. Coming back, let's bring our left foot up, right foot extends out. And just tucking and curling that up into the body, opening our hips, our hip flexors, feeling that strength through. And something with this left shoulder is staying anchored into the ground. And just bring it. If you're getting stuck on a microphone pack, move it out of the way. But if your knee is not coming down, tuck it behind the right knee, and that will provide a little bit of support here. We'll bring it down as far as feels comfortable. And then gaze over the left hand here if you've got the length through the back. And open up. And coming back to center, tucking both knees in, then coming back up to a seated position. Wherever is a comfortable seat for you. And I want to thank you for coming on this starting journey with me and flowing with me in this beautiful outdoor area as I enjoy the beautiful spring weather in Sydney. But thank you for flowing with me and hope to see you again soon. Namaste.